Hello, it's Carrie here from the Female Entrepreneur Association, and I am ridiculously excited right now because we are joined by the amazing Rebecca Campbell. She is the author of the best-selling book, Light is the New Black, and the author of the new book, Rise is to Rise, which is so exciting. And we are going to be talking all about how we can all rise up and succeed in life in a more authentic and feminine way, which is very exciting. Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. Love talking with you, Carrie.
I'm so excited to have you here. Firstly, congratulations on your book. How exciting!
Thank you. Yeah, it is exciting.
I'm very excited to talk more about that. I absolutely loved your first book, Light is the New Black. So wait to see you.
Oh, perfect. Near your new book, I can see that.
How pretty these covers are.
Yay.
Your first book was amazing, and I love this second book because you talk about rising up, you talk about the feminine, you talk about sisterhood. It's amazing. It's just right up my street, and I feel like so many people out there, so many women out there are kind of waking up to this realization that there is another way to kind of succeed in life. It doesn't have to be this really masculine route. There is another way. So I'm excited to talk all about it, and also to hear your tips on, like you say, this is a guide to unleashing the wise, wild woman within. So hearing your tips on that. But firstly, I thought it would be good for us to talk about what it really means to rise.
Oh, that is such a beautiful, amazing question, and one which I feel prior to really working with the energy in this book, the word rise to me was all about forging and pushing ahead and striving and achieving. Whereas what I'm realizing is in order to rise, we need to first allow what is falling away to fall away. So as women and human beings and being part of the planet, but particularly women, we're cyclic beings. And as women who are entrepreneurs, who whether or not we're entrepreneurs or working in the corporate world or whatever, so many of us, particularly who have had our training in the corporate world, have learned to make it in a man's world. And when I say that, I don't mean that, the masculine's bad and the feminine's good or whatever. But to me, to rise up and the rising feminine it's not about the feminine rising over the masculine. It's about the feminine rising back up into equal balance, right? Both are exactly as important as the other. But as so many of us women have been pushing down our feminine nature and our wisdom, our potency, our power of being a woman in order to bloom all year round, in order to meet the deadline after deadline after deadline. And particularly us as entrepreneurs, I wonder if you can relate to this, because I find that entrepreneurs, we're highly ambitious people and we're passionate about our business. And it's so easy to fall into that trap of feeling like we should and also want to bloom all year round. Like we were just talking before about, the year that both of us have had. And I'm saying I'm about to go to the States and then I'm finally taking a holiday. And this is the thing about, in order to rise, we must let what is falling away fall away. Us being cyclic beings, if you look at nature, nature's teaching us how to be human constantly. We go through all the different seasons. As a woman, our female cycle is synced to the spinning of the planet. It's synced to the coming and going of the seasons. In the Northern Hemisphere, we're in autumn now, which is all about falling. And I think it's so interesting because just as I was launching this book, I fell and broke my left foot. And the left foot is feminine. And I had probably what would have been my biggest speaking gig. I spoke at I Can Do It, I had that big Hay House event in Birmingham. So I wasn't able to walk on stage. I had crutches. I had Robert Holden pushing me in a wheelchair. And I was praying and just what is this? And I realized that was such a beautiful visual metaphor. It was poetry in a way to what it really means to rise. And this is not to say that it's we all must fall and things must be crap or whatever in order for them to be good. No, not at all. It's about actually surrendering to what is falling away so that we can create the space for what is new and what is wanting to rise, to truly rise through us. We're living in these interesting times where we are literally birthing a new age, and we are redefining what it means to be a woman and a female leader.
I love it. It's so liberating to think that, because I feel like so often people, in fact, there's a really great quote, but I can't remember it and I don't have it to hand, but it is about like how you've got to like, it's basically in order for a star to be born, it has to like crumble. And it's not its destruction, it's its birth. And I just really, I think for me as an entrepreneur with so many ups and so many downs, I think I love the fact that it's just surrendering, and like as you are doing it, you're rising. It's just so empowering and so liberating. So what are the things that people can do to rise up, like practical things people can try out to just kind of rise and really tune into their true self?
So I think one really, really simple one is to notice what season you're in. So it might be physically, like in the Northern Hemisphere, we're in autumn right now, or it might also be creatively. So depending where you are on your launches with business, work out if you are in the summer where it's kind of like woohoo, blooming and getting it out into the world, or maybe you're in winter where it's like, it's time to take the rest, take the naps, kind of cocoon yourself in so that come spring, those new sprouts can bloom up. The opposite of that is to be constantly on social media and being like, oh my God, everyone's launching, everyone's doing everything, I'm not doing enough. Blah, blah, blah. There is always going to be someone who's in spring or summer, but it's not humanly possible for us to be so. Another really simple way is, and I talk about this in the book, is starting to work with your female cycle. Because as women, every single month we go through each of those seasons. And in our society, there's 4 main archetypes for women. I mean, there's many archetypes, but these are like the general, like classic archetypes, which is the maiden, the mother, the wild woman, and the crone or the elder. Now, in our society, the maiden and the mother are the ones that are very like socially accepted, but they're using the yang energy, the masculine energy. Whereas the wild woman and the crone, she's a bit banished, and that's the feminine, I believe, that is rising now. The wild woman is the potent woman. It's the one this is when we're in our PMS phase. And so often as women, we're taught to like be the good girl and just please everyone and say yes or whatever. But the wild woman, when we're in that phase, I don't know about you, but for me, it's like, there is an outburst that needs to happen, or I'm there and I'm like, the house is so messy, everything must go. And it's like everything that's inauthentic just gets cleared away. And then when we're in the bleeding phase of our cycle, that's when we're in winter. And that's actually when we're more tapped in with our intuition. So from a business point of view, that stage of the cycle is an amazing time to vision and to get clarity on the big decisions which you're going to make. Because if you're in the spring phase of your cycle, you're probably going to agree to every single thing that you could possibly agree to, because you're just like, oh my gosh, everything's so exciting, I want to do everything.
I've been interested before, when every time I've seen like other books that are like on understanding your cycle more, read articles on it, I just find it so fascinating, because I'm like, that's so true. Like, there's some parts of the month where you just want to hibernate, and then other parts, like you said, where you're just like full out there and you're like, all like everything's going great. It's so fascinating when we realize that it's actually so cyclical, and if we tune in with it, we can work with it so much more in such a better, more powerful way. So
totally, yeah, because if we're trying to fight against it and be in that good girl phase constantly, or the achieving, blooming phase constantly, then we feel like we're going crazy when we're all emotional or whatever. You track that stuff. My friend Lisa Lister does amazing work on this. She's got great books. She's a fellow Hay House author. But when you start to track it, you can actually predict, like, whether it's day 26 or whatever day it is for you in your cycle, where you're like, I'm probably going to have a meltdown today. And then at least if you know, there's no judgment. And it's in unlocking these phases where, because I find that for so many of us women, particularly entrepreneurs, particularly light workers, particularly people who have always felt that niggly feeling where it's like, I know that I'm here for a reason. So many of us, we kind of like push down that potent power and push down our voice. But it's like when we actually allow all parts of us to be seen, then it can rise up.
Yeah, I love that so much. Are there any exercises, or I know you've got so many different things in here, and you've got I love all like little poems and things you've put in here. They're so amazing. But is there anything you can share with us, or any like meditations, exercises, things we could try out that will help us all?
Yeah, I think that again, it's such a simple one, but nature is teaching us how to be a woman every moment of every day. If you're ever feeling like out off kilter or whatever, go out in nature. There's this particular exercise which is in the book, which is called held, because as women, you know, if we aren't mothering ourselves, we're looking to the world and we're feeling dissatisfied by the world, and we're looking at the world and other people to fill up that well. And so, yeah, a really simple exercise is to lie on the earth. And you know, when you lie down, sometimes you can kind of feel the pulse of like your own pulse. Yeah. And so as you're doing it, just close your eyes and like really sink into the earth, wherever it is, and begin to feel that pulse, and imagine yourself like pulsing along with the pulse of the planet. Because there is this mysterious force that controls all of this universe that we're in, whether it's the spinning of the planet, the waxing and waning of the moon, our female cycle. It's this rhythm. And if we can surrender to that, if we're feeling off kilter, it's because we're out of whack with that. And so if we just kind of like surrender to the Mother Earth in that way, and imagine her kind of like beating us back into sync with her, it's such a simple and powerful exercise. I do it all the time.
I love it. I'm definitely going to try that. Sometimes I just feel like I need to escape and go in, even if it's like going for a walk and just watching the wind blow in the trees and just trying to take a deep breath in and just feel some kind of connection to everything. It just, sometimes it just really helps put me back together.
Oh, I love that. It's so true, because it's like, you know, there's this part of us, it's the part of us that believes that we're separate, is the part of us that kind of is trying to veer us off track constantly. Whereas if we just like calm ourselves down and realize that we're no different to that leaf, you know, we're no different to that tree, like, and you know, we see as humans, so many of us see ourselves as like living in nature, but we are nature. We are part of the earth. And so the more we can surrender and sync with that, whether it's just looking at a tree or whatever, like feeling the wind sinking back in there, it's phenomenal. And like all these things, it's like they're always so simple to do. And often because of simplicity, we overlook it.
Yeah, so true. Thank you so much for coming to share your amazing words of wisdom with us. I think you're amazing. I love your books. I think everyone needs to go and read them. But thank you so much for spending time with us.
My pleasure. Thanks, Corey.
Everybody needs to go and check out Rebecca's new book, Rise, Sister Rise. It is so amazing. It's full of so much goodness. You are going to absolutely love it. Also, if you want to win a copy of the book, all you need to do is leave a comment below and let us know what your key takeaway is from watching this session with us, and we are going to be announcing the winners soon, so keep a lookout. But I really hope you've enjoyed the session, and I will see you next time for another weekly dose of inspiration. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch one of our videos. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I've got something really exciting that I would love to send your way. We have created the Make It Happen guided visualization for you to listen to every single day for the next 30 days to help you to condition yourself to make incredible things happen. And along with that, we have the Make It Happen workbook to help you to get really clear on your goals, to get so much focus and clarity, to make a plan of action so you know what you need to do and when you need to do it. So if you would love us to send them your way, then all you need to do is subscribe to the email list below and they will be on their way to you. So definitely do that and come and join an incredible group of women who are so passionate and determined to achieve amazing things and build successful businesses. And I will see you next week for another 10-minute masterclass.